We're live now, so all of you are being recorded. I got a little camera up there, and I got a little camera right here as well. So, but for this, I can change views, but I just want to go to this view, keep this view here. So there's problems 1, 3, 4. Problem number 2, remember, you just want to, you got to look at the sign in the middle. The sign in the middle, this is going to be a negative. I'll pull the parentheses off. So I rewrite this as -3 plus 2i. This negative, here's where the confusion begins. This negative goes on that 4. It's -4. And this negative goes on this negative, so it's positive. This changes over to positive 5i. Now, I is representative of an imaginary number, just like 2x or 7x. Or 8k, but these are imaginaries. So the reals go together. The real part of the number is without an I, so -3 and -4 gives you -7. And 2i plus 5i gives you positive 7i. So that answer would be -7 plus 7i. So there's problem 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, on the graph part over here, yes, you have to be able to plot a number. You should be able to look at that point A and know that it is directly 5 units up. So this is the number 0 plus 5i. Or if I give you the number to plot, you should be able to plot 5i. See, 0 plus 5i. And then on the second one, we have 2 plus 4i. So you start in the center. You go to the right 2, up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a dot. And you can put the letter B right beside it. Letter C is -3. This is a real number. But you can write a real number as a complex number. You would write it as -3 plus 0i. And you can graph that. You can plot it by going 1, 2, 3 to the left. You put your point. There's letter C. On letter D, we're 1 to the right and 3 down. The negative indicates the direction going down. So we go 1 to the right, 3 down. There's letter C. And letter E, if you want to correct that one or fill it in, the 5, this is the direction -5, so we go to the left 5. And we have a -2, so the direction would be down. So negative left, negative down. And that is letter E. And then we take our little highlighter out and we just highlight it. Not a rule. Not even really an expectation. It just kind of cleans it up a little bit. It's like putting a little armor all on your tires. Of course, many people down here, the cars get so muddy and dirty, it's kind of pointless to wash, but whatever. All right. So that's the right side. Anything on this side, starting with column A. Remember, all of these answers match up with all of these. Now, I'm not saying it's 1-to-1. You could actually have 2 answers for the same answer for 2 different problems, and maybe one of them isn't even used. Okay, so I'll leave that blank. We'll get that graded. And that leads us to the middle section right here. So let's first focus on the left side. I think you can handle A. Letter B, I will demonstrate just for my people that perhaps have been absent. I take 7 times 4, which is 28i. And then I take the 7i times the negative I, which is negative 7i squared. And on the back side of this paper, you should have what's called an eye chart. I don't want to have to flip it right now, but someplace you should have an eye chart. And this eye chart starts with I to the first power is just simply I. But then as each time we go up another power, it represents something different. So I squared equals -1, and I to the third. I had this written up there on the board, but somebody erased it. I to the third is equal to a -I, and I to the fourth is equal to a +1. Yes, this is, you should know this. That's called my eye chart. And then from there, it just keeps repeating in that process. All right, so I squared right here. I look at my eye chart, it's -1. You can see it. So I just rewrite this as 28i minus 7 times -1. And when I take -7 times -1, I get +7. So I'm going to clean this answer up as 7 plus 28i. The real part goes first, the imaginary part goes second. Fix it. I don't want 28i plus 7. I want 7 plus 28i. Go ahead, you can fix it. On letter C, you're looking at something to the third power. Well, that would be 3i times 3i times 3i. 3 times 3 times 3 yields 27. I times I times I, that's going to give you I3. Check out your eye chart. I3 is -I. So we have 27 times -I, and that gives you a -27i. I know the direction said write it in the form of a plus bi, so technically you would have put a 0 in front, but I'm not going to penalize you for not having the 0 in there. There it is, -27i. Letter D right here, quick hand up, down if you'd like to see this guy worked out. There's not much space here. There's about 4 of you that could probably squeeze it in this little box. I don't want it squeezed in that box. I want it on the back. So hand up, down. So hand up, down. I see the hand go up, down, then I work the problem out. That way you don't have to actually say, hey, Mr. White, can you work this problem out? So all you got to do is go hand up, down, I do it. Perfect. Hand up, down, I'll see it, I'll work it out. So here we go. I'm going to turn this into a box like this. Letter D, I'm going to put 3 plus 5i along the vertical. And I'm going to put 4 and 3i along the horizontal. And then I fill in these numbers, or these boxes. So I take 3 times 4, it's 12. 3 times 3 is 9i. 5 times 4 is 20i. And 5 times 3 is 15i squared. I put a little kidney bean around those two because they're called like terms. I drop the 12. 20 plus 9 is 29i. And then I drop this 15i squared. I look at my I chart because I have to convert that I squared. I squared is -1. So this becomes 12 plus 29i plus 15 times -1. And then this becomes 12 plus 29i. 15 times -1 is -15. Now this is where some of you pull out the calculator. It's no big deal if you can't take 12 minus 15 in your head. 12 minus 15. I see this all day long. I'm not worried about it. Just get yourself a little calculator and it'll do it for you. -3. So this is going to be -3 plus 29i. It's not your fault that you can't add and subtract quickly or multiply quickly. It is your 4th and 5th and 6th grade math teachers' dilemma that they should have really hit that with you back at that age. Now, some of us have other difficulties where we just can't remember things like that. That's fine. Get yourself a calculator. It's fine. All right, so -3 plus 29i. Answer, -3 plus 29i. There's my answer. I don't have all the work beside it. I would say, I would write down work on back. Work on back. Okay? So there's letter B, check. Letter C, check. Letter D, check. And that is about all of the new stuff. The only thing we added yesterday was multiplying. We did adding and subtracting or combining on day 1. That's this one. Day 2, we went to multiplying, which is the FOIL method, or the box, a 2x2 box. Probably won't get into bigger than 2x2s. Hand up down on this one. I'll just put my pen right here. Okay, on this one, I've got enough space. I can do this right in here. So that first number is a 3 times -2 times 4. So the first thing I want to do is multiply those. So 3 times -2 times 4. That gives me a -24. And then I times I times I, that's I to the 3rd power. Check your I chart. There's your I chart. Convert I3, that's this one, to -I. So you just change it out like that. And when you take this negative times that negative, you get positive. And then don't forget the I. Okay, now, down here on the bottom. No, I won't do all of them, but I will do one of them. Okay, no on C. Hand up, down on B. There it is, B it is. So here's what you do. I'm going to squeeze this in right here. So I carry the -5. And then I have to go rad, rad, rad. Remember, rad is short for radical. There's the first one. They're blank. There's the second one. It's blank. There's the third one. It's blank. Now you put numbers in. It's either 2 or 3. This one is only going to be 2 because 100 is a perfect square. This one is 3 because 80 is not a perfect square. And the first one carries the -1. And this next 2 have to be a perfect square. And I know, so what you do is you take your calculator and you start dividing by perfect squares. So 80 divided by 4, yeah, but let's find something bigger. 80 divided by 9, decimal, get rid of that. 80 divided by 16, that's a perfect square. 16 and 5. So I used 16, 5, and then I just start square rooting. You cannot, this is an I. Carry your -5. This is 4. Can't do that. So that's going to stay in the rad bar. Multiply this. -5 times 4 is -20 I rad 5. That would be that answer. And that's how you simplify a negative radical. Okay? I do not want decimal answers. Okay, kiddos. So That takes care of everything on this sheet, I think. I'm going to